All right, so more walk and talk. I am down the hill and it is hot as hell out. First thing I wanted to talk about for our Wednesday edition of political stuff, I want to talk about something I saw that made a whole lot of sense and I think puts a little more context to the idea that the government using ICE to go after people who are illegals or undocumented immigrants is just such bad faith. It's all show. They're not interested in getting people out of the country. It's just red meat for the base. They're not going after employers. They're not trying to arrest the people who, overwhelmingly hire illegals or undocumented immigrants. And that, to me, that says something, because if they really cared about it, if it was really a huge issue, if this was something that we absolutely had to solve, then not only would they be, rounding up people and shipping them out, they would also be arresting the people committing the crime of hiring them. Now, the reason they don't do that, of course, is many of the people who are in favor of this to begin with are also the ones that for decades had used illegal and undocumented people for their businesses to save money, because it's cheaper. It's just a lot easier to pay them. You don't have to give them, health care. You don't have to give them benefits. You just pay them under the table and you save money. So I really do want to ask in the comments, if you are really strongly for the idea of every single undocumented or illegal person, wouldn't you also have to be for the idea of arresting those who employ them? That's the only way I think that they'd actually be serious. But for me, that was a great point that I saw on Twitter, and I'm regurgitating it now because it totally and utterly does make sense. That it proves this is just nonsense, man. This is all just such a distraction while they're raiding the pantry and doing tax cuts for themselves and just essentially screwing us left and right. All right, and another topic that we're going to discuss here is the assault on porn. This one annoys me, and it really frustrates me because if you try to stand up for the right to wank, for the freedom to watch porn, you immediately get called like a pervert, or they're like, oh, you're immoral. Shut the fuck up. Everybody watches porn. Just about everybody watches porn. I would say a super majority of people on this planet watch porn. That is just no doubt about it. And recently, one of the sites that I use, it's called Spank Bang. It's awesome, by the way. It's great because it's one of those ones where you can hover over it and you'll see like thumbnail preview video. So you don't have to just click on it and just, risk wasting your time for extremely precious stroking time. But they implemented you have to take a picture of yourself and send it to them. And they're like, well, it's for the secure records. And I'm sorry, bro. If I wouldn't do that for Facebook, I am not doing that for a porn site. Like, they're literally going to have an archive of people's pictures because they wanted to watch porn. And I don't care what you say, that is not secure. And one day there will be a database leak and there will be a picture of every sad fuck who just wanted to watch porn in the comfort and privacy of their own homes. Now, they've since lifted it. I think they only did it for about a week. But like for that week, that's a preview of where it's going. Because I know here in California, I don't think they're enforcing this. I think it's voluntary for the sites to have that. But in other states, like I know Utah has an enforcement of this, and there's other states as well, right-leaning states in particular, that are doing this. And the argument is, well, will somebody please think of the children? You know what? When did it become the government's job to be a parent, to take care of people's kids? I'm so sick of this shit, and I've seen people say, well, the comparison here is alcohol. You can't go to a bar and buy a drink without showing your ID. Yeah, it's a little different for porn and alcohol. Porn, unless you have an addiction or something, is not going to cause you any harm. the majority of people that watch porn are just doing it real quick to have a little bit of pleasure, just, be a fucking sicko in the best way possible. This is nuts, man. Like, this is so crazy how, especially the conservative base went from "don't tread on me" to "please, daddy, tread all over me," to "think of the children." Man, I don't know about this one. This is nuts. And I, for one, am one of those people that I think there probably won't be an outright porn ban. Sorry, I got a little sunscreen in my eye. I don't think they'll outright ban it because there would just be, oh man, riots in the street. But I think that they are definitely going to try and do a federal standard of either the ID or your picture, or the one, hopefully it's this one of the three, the just age verification, as in, you just have to put in a bullshit date and you can get through. But so far, it's basically just take a picture of yourself before you can masturbate. Like, what? Oh man, I'm curious your thoughts on this one. It is not something to be shameful of if you watch porn. Do not let morons online, in particular, say, "Oh, you're a degenerate." Like, I had one guy on Twitter pop up when I started talking about this, and he goes, "Why don't you go get like a girlfriend instead of just masturbating alone like a beta?" I'm like, bro, me and Michelle watch porn together sometimes. What? Like this idea that the only people who watch porn are like sad, lonely people. No, like, I watch with my girlfriend here and there too. Like, what are you talking about? Porn is normal. Porn should not be shunned, and you should never feel bad about watching porn. Come on, so stupid. And the next topic, I'm going to touch on this one really quick because this all happened while I was on vacation in Alabama, was the whole Iran-Israel United States conflict that lasted about 12 days. Thankfully, at the moment at least, it has not escalated, which I was definitely thinking it would. Thankfully, it calmed down, even though this hopefully is ended. You can't come out and pat yourself on the back for ending a conflict that you helped start. Like it's like if a guy walked into your house and lit it on fire and then came back 10 minutes later with a fire hydrant or like a fire hose and helped you put it out. He caused the damage to begin with. And this entire narrative of us being Israel's little bitch, man, thank God I'm seeing a lot of even right-wingers kind of waking up to this and going, I thought that this was America first. I've proudly told you guys many times that I am America first. I'm a progressive liberal. I'm a Bernie Sanders guy, but I am America first. The real definition of America first, which is doing things for America over other countries. I'm down to help our allies, but it seems like Israel is like running our country at this moment. Like, we are doing anything they want. Thankfully, it does look like Trump is annoyed with them, and he's talking shit. Good, he should be. Fuck Israel. They are just dragging us into conflict after conflict, and using our tax money while they're at it. They should do whatever the hell they want. Go for it. But don't drag us into this bullshit. Leave us out of it. There's enough of that. Focus on making our home country better before we help another country bomb all their neighbors because they don't like them. And I just, good Lord, man. Diplomacy, baby. I want diplomacy. And it's just a weird situation. And I don't think it's over yet. I wholeheartedly think we have not seen the last of Iran and Israel, and us having to back up Israel as they just bomb the shit out of this country. And also, interestingly enough, the reports say that all of the enriched uranium was taken out anyway. So they bombed empty sites. So if anything, all we did was just kind of set them back a little bit, but we didn't actually prevent them from potentially getting a nuclear weapon. Even though, again, Trump's own intel, his own intel, said that they were not trying to even make one, or that they were years off. And then immediately he just says, I don't believe that. They were doing it. Either way, what a mess. What a fucking mess. And the big other topic to talk about is something that I had been warning you guys about for a while now while doing these videos. Is I said that if they were not going to give due process to illegals or undocumented people, or even people here legally with green cards, and they were just going to boot them out without letting a judge, assess whether or not that was constitutional or not, that eventually they were going to start coming for United States citizens. And you guys told me, at least the pro-Trump people, told me that that would never happen. You said that, Matt, you're crazy, you have Trump derangement syndrome, he's not going to do that, they're not going after U.S. citizens, this is a fairy tale. Yeah, well, he just confirmed that they're going to do that now. He was just asked about it, and he said point blank that there are some people who were born here that are bad people, and we need to see about getting them shipped out of the country. So American citizens, think about it though, if they're still, as of right now, shipping people out of the country without due process, so they can't even prove that they didn't break a law, what's going to happen when they start doing that to United States citizens? Well, you say, oh, that's not possible. How do you know it's not possible? If they're not allowed to prove that they're even a United States citizen by going in front of a judge, then you're giving full control, full authority, and full trust that our government is just right. And I've seen people say this before too, where they said point blank, well, I trust the Trump administration. They'll do what's right. Fuck that. I don't trust any government. I don't trust ours. I don't care if it's a liberal. I don't care if it's a conservative. I don't care if somehow an independent gets in there. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ himself who is running our government. There is a reason why we have checks and balances and why we have due process to protect your rights, because if they just grab you in the middle of the night and ship you out and you're out of the country by the next day, you didn't get to see a judge, you didn't get to prove you were an American citizen, and now he's saying point blank that they're going to go after people who are American citizens. Told you. I told you. And I wish I was wrong. I have no problem eating shit on it if I was, because I would be glad to be wrong. But this is totally out of control. And MAGA, you are the biggest cucks I have ever seen from a political party. At least the progressives gave Bernie shit when he bent the knee to Biden. They gave Bernie shit when he, for 2 months, was supporting Israel in their initial attacks. It doesn't even matter if you agree or disagree with that situation. The progressives gave him shit. But Trump's base, they don't care, man. They will follow him into any avenue of destruction. Like I said before, they're deep-throating him as he's taking away their rights. Because birthright citizenship is your right. It's my right. It's our rights. And they're just removing this stuff, and then they cheer. They cheer that this is going to be so great. Well, I'll make the next video when they start shipping out Americans and people just say TDS. Oh my God. All right. And I think the last video for this block is we're going to talk about how the big, beautiful bill passed the Senate, but now it's going to be sent over to the House. And apparently the version of that bill that the House has is completely different in many ways. There's a lot of not similar ideas in there, or they're worded differently. So a lot of people saying it's going to have a tough time to pass. It's going to pass. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to pass. I knew when people were saying that the Senate may not pass it. No, it's going to pass. They're going to all bend the knee. When I see someone like Josh Hawley, who sometimes is based, sometimes Josh Hawley can be based, like he will often stand up for workers' rights and things of that nature, even though I don't agree with him on most of the things he believes in. But when I see him stand up and explain that the big beautiful bill is bad and we need to get away from passing legislation like this and focus more on helping working class people, but then he votes for it anyway, I know they're all going to bend the knee. They are going to vote for this thing. Thomas Massey, shout out, the only one with actual beliefs that he sticks up for. I don't agree with almost anything on Thomas Massey, like maybe anti-war stuff, and that's about it. But I respect that he has his beliefs, and he's not going to bend them for anyone, including the Donald. So good on him. But it's going to pass. If you guys don't know why the Big Beautiful Bill is so terrible, I saw that in almost every state, it's going to raise the cost of electricity by 30%. It's going to close thousands of rural hospitals because they're basically killing Medicaid. Medicaid is what poor people use to get health care, including a lot of them children. And it's going to kick off an estimate of anywhere from like 12 to 15 million people are going to lose their health care. Republicans are saying that it's only going to be people that are lazy, that are on it illegally, and they're not working for it. No, it's nonsense. Go actually look at somebody who's not a fucking partisan piece of shit, and they'll just tell you right away, a lot of people are going to lose their health care. A lot. And the fact that the rural hospitals are going to close is going to be devastating to those areas. But unfortunately, when that happens, the trick that they usually do is they'll say, well, this only happened because of the Democrats. And because those places are so deeply, just stuffed into their ideology, they'll believe it, even though this was directly the Republicans who took those hospitals away. It also makes it so that AI can't be regulated by the states. So the federal government coming down on states' rights and saying that if a state wants to, in some way, stop the use of AI to hurt its citizens, they just can't. They just can't. Only the federal government can put regulations and restrictions on AI, which is just a huge overreach of power, in my opinion. I think the states should be allowed to decide that one in particular. But it's endless bad, man. Like this is one of the largest transfers of wealth from the lower and middle class to the rich in history. It's so brazen that there were reports that said that Wall Street people, like Wall Street rich people, would go to Trump and be like, this is too much, dog. Like, this is too much. This is too blatant, and it's going to make us all look terrible. And he just doesn't give a shit, because I think at this point, as long as things go fairly, which I still don't think they will, but if things go fairly on the midterms, Republicans are going to get absolutely swamped. They're going to just get absolutely swamped. There's a really good chance that they're going to lose both the Senate and the House. And so they're just raiding the pantry. Like, they know they have a limited time, and they're going to take advantage of it and give themselves and their donors everything that they want. But anybody who thinks that this is a tax cut for you and me, yeah, you're full of it. You're lying. You know, when I look at the history of these tax cuts, we had one under Ronald Reagan, we had one under George W. Bush, we had one under Trump in the first term, and we're about to have another one under his second term. And I've always been told that it takes time. It takes time when you cut the taxes of the wealthy, because once they free up their money, well, then, of course, it trickles down to the rest of us, because then they can go open up new businesses, they can hire new people. That's just a load of shit. Historically, they hoard their money. They don't spend it more. They hoard it. They keep it to themselves. And they don't spread the wealth at all. And so we've been doing this bullshit trickle-down economics thing since Ronald Reagan. Okay? Since I was a fucking baby. And how have we all benefited? When does the trickling downs begin? Because I don't know about you, I've seen this across the country. Housing costs are just skyrocketed. Rent skyrocketed. Cost of food is still really, really high. Gas skyrocketed. All of the things that working people need to live are still high. When do we benefit from this? Like, are we going to need a fifth tax cut for the wealthy, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth? Or is it more likely that the reality of this situation is they're always just taking your money? They're taking your money, our tax dollars, and at the end of the day, using it for their own means. We need to tax the shit out of these people. We need to tax them into oblivion. I agree with the new dude, Zohan. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but guy who just won for the nomination for mayor of New York. Tax the shit out of billionaires. Billionaires should not exist The difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is so vast because they can use their wealth to buy what they want in the system. They can get whatever they want with their money. So their vote means more than your vote. This is just bad, man. I really thought for a while there we were going to claw our way out of COVID and figure this out. But now I'm of the firm belief that I think we're kind of screwed. I think we're kind of screwed because this thing's going to pass. And of course, it'll go through any future administration, like the next one. So even if the Democrats take back control, I don't even have faith in them anymore. They're too busy shitting on the guy who just won the nomination for mayor of New York. They're going on him, harder on him, than they're going on the big beautiful bill. How does that make any sense? This guy, like, it doesn't matter if you believe in what he believes. It's the fact that he crushed that election. I mean, crushed it. As an open socialist, crushed it. Young people came out in record numbers to support him. So this is a potential path for the Democratic Party. They would rather call him an anti-Semite, ignore why he won, and pretend like status quo politics are going to be the thing that gets them victories in the future. They're dead in the water, dude. The Dems are useless. Their leadership needs to go. They're so cooked. They're so cooked. No wonder the Republicans treat them like they're little bitches, because they are. Democrats are the Republicans' little bitches. Until they start believing in something, until they start standing up for something other than, rich donor money in Israel, this isn't going to change. This is just the way it's going to be. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully by next Wednesday, I'll be a little bit more positive. But as of right now, it's not looking great. It's not looking great, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments down below if there's other topics you'd like me to cover on the next walk and talk, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.